Welcome to Smack Talk. 2 links as always down below. One for the full video recap, which is only 5 minutes long, if only my recaps are that short. And then, of course, the text results that I refer to along with my notes that I have in case I forget something. So this was unexpected. I wasn't expecting to see this, but I'm glad that I got to see it. Well, not this part here, obviously. That's at the top there. First off, we talk about Bronson Reed, who's got a broken foot. He's out indefinitely when he jumped off of the cage. CM Punk tore Tongaloa's bicep with the toolbox. Remember Drew McIntyre? Bad blood? Oh, there was a lot of blood. Real stitches on Drew's head, which is why he was gone for so long. I'm surprised they still let CM Punk play with that toolbox, because that's some, like, pretty serious stuff. If I had CM Punk coming at me with a toolbox, I'd be like, hey, think of Tongaloa, think of Drew McIntyre. I don't want to be on the receiving end of that unless I'm getting paid a shit ton of money. So Tongaloa is out indefinitely as well, along with Jimmy Uso, who's got a broken toe, again, out indefinitely. Apollo Crews, upon entering the arena, which is fun, well, not funny, but because we didn't see him compete, and Apollo Crews is amazing. He was going through the security check, and then Solo just kind of like bumped into him, and then Apollo's like, hey, what the hell, man? And then Solo's bloodline just attacked him. I was kind of hoping that was going to lead to like an Apollo Crews versus Jacob Fatu or Solo Sikoa, but that ended up not coming to fruition. A lot of times, as you know, superstars will show up to each event even if they're not scheduled to fight. Finally, Cody with, Chad Gable. For a second there, I almost forgot his name. Cody Rhodes in-ring promo about Saturday night's main event when he's going to face Kevin Owens. And an American maid comes out, led by Chad Gable, who actually gave a really good promo about, Kevin Owens being a good friend and how Cody Rhodes is not a good friend. And what's really interesting, too, is when Kevin Owens later that night stomped a mud hole on Cody Rhodes' ankle, it says right here, KO is right, and then this guy has a KO shirt. A lot of people love Kevin Owens, including myself. He is not a heel. I totally see where he's coming from, and it's not because we're both from Quebec. On est deux Français qui vient Canada. It has nothing to do with that whatsoever. So Cody fired back and says, who's going to take the blame when you fail? Are you going to start treating American Made like crap, right? You had a good point there, because look what happened with Alpha Academy. Tiffy time versus Elektra and Naomi for a triple threat match. This was a nice match. Tiffy won, and what was really cool, and imagine the pop that would happen someday if this happens, if she, for whatever reason, turns face. The fans were chanting for her more than they were for Naomi. Imagine if she became a double champ, dethroning Nia. She's Miss Money in the Bank. And imagine if she became the first ever women's U.S. champion. I could actually see that. She's actually that good, in my opinion. She really, really is. That would be wild. I don't remember. Well, I do. I just don't remember when. But Becky Lynch, and let's get something straight. I really like Becky Lynch, so calm down. It's not an insult. What I am saying is this. If Becky Lynch can be a double champion, she totally can be a double champion. I don't know if Charlotte Flair ever was one. She was one of my favorites. So yeah. So now you've got Michin so far in the mix, which I really, really appreciate Michin, and I love the push that she's getting. But let's call a spade a spade. I just don't see her legitimately winning the first ever U.S. title. I'm not saying she doesn't have what it takes, but the character build-up and all that is not quite there. Chelsea's a bit of a wild card. Bayley, I could totally see, but Bayley usually tends to go for like the top, championship. And she's really good, but believe me, I really, really think it should be Tiffy out of everybody that's in there so far. I wouldn't be upset if Chelsea won. She's really good too. But they would have to push her in the direction of not being this, like her character right now. Like I said, it reminds me a little bit of the Seth Rollins. I know I go back to that a lot because it was an era I did not like with the J&J security. I mean, I liked it, but he was always like running and ducking from everything. When you have Gunther and people like Braun Breaker, they're like, yeah, sure, you want a title shot? If it means I get to bend you in half like a pretzel? Yeah, let's do it. Let me go talk to Adam Pearce for you. So anyways. Then backstage, which I don't always mention the backstage, but to me sometimes it's worth talking about. Street Profits got ambushed. We're not sure by who. I have a feeling it's Tommaso Ciampa. And the reason for that, as we all know, Motor City Machine Gun had nobody to face. And then Johnny Gargano was like, well, you know what I'm saying? I could fulfill that requirement for the match, and MCMG accepted. So I actually think it might have actually been Gargano and Tommaso, because as you know now, they've gone heel. Okay? But at the time here, I didn't know that, right? Piper versus Bianca, I really liked this match. I almost said on Chelsea Gray because she inserted herself into the match. The whole KOD, as you could see literally right here, KOD on top of Chelsea Green, just the whole thing. It was pretty wild. Really strong, Bianca is. And yeah, like I said, Piper is just really good too. Man, she gets a lot of shit on social media. Like, I mean, it's so bad, man. It's like, I get like getting on someone for whatever if they're a terrible person, but she's not a terrible person at all. And the amount of hate she gets is unbelievable. Like, I've seen it firsthand myself, but she fires back. She just kind of goes with it. She's not bothered by it, and I'm glad that she's got the character type like myself to just be able to do that. It's great. Shinsuke Nakamura, the U.S. champ, comes into the ring, which, thinking about it now, I'm not even too sure why he came out, to be honest with you. Puts the belt on the ground. LA Knight comes out, says cheap shot, cheap win. But last I recall, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, when LA Knight lost to Shinsuke for the U.S. title, it was actually a clean victory. There was no mist, which he talked about. And then he's like, I got my mist goggles on, puts on his shades. He actually won fair and square, from what I remember. Then Andrade comes out, says, look, man, no disrespect, LA Knight says to Andrade, but he wants his rematch. Usually a champ always has a right to a rematch. Then Jacob Fatu comes out, Tama Tonga attacking Andrade and LA Knight. And what was really weird was the Shinsuke Nakamura stare down. Then he like went to his throat. All the black stuff starts coming out, right? And it was just a weird stare down. Like, I don't know what their issue was, if they have one with Shinsuke. I don't know what Shinsuke was going to say. Was he scheduled for a match? Like, just that whole thing was just really bizarre. What the original intent was for that. Was he even going to say anything? Solo was mad on the microphone. He was growling a little bit. He had a little bit more grit in his voice. He sounded more believable. Okay, guys, I'm the tribal chief. I'm not saying that's what he sounds like. But when you go from that to, I need to be taken seriously, or whatever, like, I don't know, it was like, there he is. That's what I'm talking about. Otherwise, it's too low key. Like The Godfather. I tell you, the next time I see you in the ring, it's not going to be pretty. Like it, okay? I'm just being real. I put a lot of emphasis in the voice, the tone, everything. Solo has been doing a phenomenal job. And I'm not saying he needs to act wild. But I like when he talks calm. I find this works for him. He talks calm. Do I have your attention? And then all of a sudden, just a little bit of grit in his voice. Just a little That's just my personal opinion. Useless as it may be, I shared it anyways. Now we have Kevin Owens, which, by the way, if you look at the top there, you can scroll through. You could see the interview if you didn't see it. Kevin Owens in car promo talks about having to be interviewed by Michael Cole in Minnesota, and then says it's going to have to be in his car. He's not going in. And then Michael Cole did eventually go into KO's car. It was a great back and forth. Kevin Owens ends up leaving, telling Michael Cole, you know what, get out. And he was driving a GMC SUV rental. Yep, and it was white. I don't know why that matters to the conversation, but there it is. So yeah, DIY versus Motor City Machine Gun. Tommaso was talking a lot of shit to Johnny Gargano. Johnny finally fired back, pushed Tommaso on the ground. What a swerve that went, because then Johnny went rogue. Pulled a Shinsuke Nakamura on AJ Styles, low blow to the nutsack. And that caused DIY to pick up the win. But in the end, because I don't know if the whole thing was a setup, like from like weeks back to where he started treating him like shit, if it was just to pretend, or you know what I mean? Like, I know from a scripted perspective, I just mean like story-wise, I don't know if he's been getting on his case and he's just been like in on it the whole time, or if this was the first time that it was set up that way, right? I don't know. But they're a good tag team. Having them go heel is interesting, but I mean, it is what it is. Backstage, I thought this was interesting. Again, I normally don't do the backstage stuff, but I thought this was worth mentioning. The Poison Pixie. I forget her name. Candice LeRae. I'm well prepared. Congratulates Johnny Gargano on his victory. And then he's all like, oh, my beautiful wife. I was like, oh, had no idea that they were married. And, yeah. Then the KO in the car. I've already talked about that. And then Chad Gable versus Cody Rhodes. This was epic. Of course, American Made had to get in there, pull Chad out, distract the ref, Jessica Carter? Whatever her name is. The ref. Tossed all their asses out. And Cody won. And then he had a boot missing. Kevin Owens enters the ring and starts stomping a mud hole into his ankle. And people are enjoying it. Yeah. I gotta tell you, as I'm so happy he finished his story, Cody Rhodes. Like, I'm really happy he finished it. It's done. I'm not done with him being champion. However, I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. If they can give Kevin Owens a good, solid 5 to 6 month run, I would absolutely be okay with that. If somehow at Saturday Night Main Event. Now, I doubt the title's going to change hands there, just because I used to watch Saturday Night Main Event. And, like, it's great and all. It's nostalgic, even the music and everything. Jesse the Body Ventura is going to be there. I just don't see, with all due respect, Cody losing to KO. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. That has nothing to do with that. It's the whole, just the way the story is going. You know, The Rock is still involved. Don't forget about him. Roman Reigns. I'm not too sure who's going to be next in line. I would just be surprised, with no offense, with how the things are going story-wise, like I said, if KO would be the one to dethrone Cody, to stop the story. I don't know. And then maybe he does do it somehow, some way. Then Randy Orton comes back, somehow challenges Kevin Owens, and he dethrones KO. And now somehow we have Cody versus Randy. This is why I shouldn't be making fantasy bookings. I'm just saying, like, this can go into so many different directions. I don't know where they're going with it, and that's kind of the beauty of it. I can't really guess. To me, there's nothing really obvious at this point. But yeah. But they're definitely taking their time with Roman Reigns now that he's back, cashing in on his rematch with Cody. I just don't know when that's going to happen. And then again, The Rock, I know he's cooking up something right now. It's going to be really interesting just to see how that whole thing's going to unfold. Anyhow, my video 3 times longer than the video recap from WWE. It is what it is. Thumbs up as always if you liked the video. It does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm in trying to make me more relevant in the search results when people are looking shit up on the internet. If you didn't like the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs down. I'll bend it in half, twist it, break it off in your ass. And I'll have it so that Bianca, KOD's Piper Niven, on you while you're like in the same position as Chelsea, but with the broken thumb in the derriere. I don't want to have to picture that too much. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, naturally, that would be great. But if not, trust me, I get it. Thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care, and maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.